This continues an interview with Fred L. Hart on April 21st, 2001 at Knoxville, Tennessee with Kurt Peeler and Mark Bolton. And you were saying that uniforms, it just were not hard to come by, that once your uniform wore out.
Wore out. If you get back to your base camp, they was never in the supply.
What about food? I mean,
base camp food was horrible.
Really?
Except if you could catch somebody that got a load of steaks from somewhere, that was okay. Some of the EM clubs had pretty good food, but generally the food wasn't that hot.
So in some ways that was very similar to your father's war.
Same deal. I guess the chow was the worst. It wasn't too good.
Did you smoke at the time, or did
No,
you?
I never smoked. I could never stand the smell of it. I couldn't stand the smell of tobacco on my clothes. It just irritated me to no end. Couldn't do it.
Would you have any interest in going back to Vietnam and seeing where you had been?
I thought I never would, and maybe I'd have to think about it. I don't think I would want to go to the north part of the country, and I think that's where those tours are that I would like to go back to where I was at. And I'm not looking for anybody that I knew. I'd just like to see what happened to the place. And I would almost say, under the regime they got, that it probably hasn't changed one bit.
What about the whole PO? I mean, I think a lot of people, Americans, when they think about Vietnam, they also think right now about POW-MIA. What do you think of the whole POW-MIA issue as a veteran?
I think that the Vietnamese murdered them all. I don't think there's any left. I hope to God there ain't none of them left, because if they are, it would be the biggest disgrace on this government that there ever was. I don't think they were fully accounted for myself. I really don't. I had a friend of mine. He was in the Navy. He was in a riverine force. He rode one of those little fiberglass gunships that rode around on the water. Then they moved to one of those hovercrafts. I don't know if you've ever interviewed anybody that was on one of those.
You're only the third Vietnam veteran. I've interviewed World War II veterans who became Vietnam veterans, but you're one of the first Vietnam veterans. So no, I haven't.
Okay. He got captured. They had tied the ship up and got captured. The Vietnamese climbed up on their ship and captured in the night. They were all taken prisoner. The Navy at that time, they didn't have any insignia. They didn't know who was a captain, who was an enlisted person. Well, the Viet Cong's idea on an enlisted person, you were dead meat. You were expendable. So this boy conned them into thinking that he was an officer, and he was put into a prison camp and moved all the time. This was in South Vietnam, not anywhere near the DMZ. He was down in the Delta like with me, and he was with the Viet Cong that moved around, and they moved him every 2 or 3 days. So there wasn't no way to track where he was at. And he told me that he was interrogated every day, and he was beaten every day. And he wasn't fed nothing but that sorry old pumpkin mash that they fed the prisoners. And I knew him in high school real well. I wasn't a real friend of his, but I knew him. He's a pretty athletic boy. He didn't play on any teams and stuff, but he was wiry and skinny and strong. He told me that they had one Vietnamese soldier that beat him every day. And he said, I watched this cat like a hawk. I learned every move he made. And said, I got me a rock that I found where I used the bathroom at every day, because they wouldn't let him out of his hut. and he said he was there for a while, and he used the bathroom there in that mess, and he found him a rock, and said, I watched this guy every day. Said, I watched every move he made, and said he beat me every day. And he said he walked through the door one day and I hit him between the eyes with this rock and killed him. And said, I run out of the hut and run towards the tree line and never looked back. And he was found about 4 or 5 days later by American troops. And he's never been the same since. He couldn't stay married to a woman a year. Mm-hmm. He couldn't hold a job down 3 months. He's total shambles. I ate breakfast with him about a year ago. I saw him at a restaurant, sit down with him and eat breakfast, and he told me he had tears in his eyes. I've got emotional here. This guy never had a tear in his eye over that. He said, I'm telling you, he said, I've got to tell somebody. So I listened to him for about an hour. It does affect people. It really, really affects people. You don't know how. There's thousands of us out here. We work every day. We pay our taxes. Then there's lots of us over here at this homeless shelter that can't cope with it. Mm-hmm. And some of them chose to do that. Some of them just can't cope with it. They just can't.
Well, I really want to thank you for coming in and sharing so much with us, particularly on a beautiful Saturday.
No, it's fine. It needs to be said. We don't need to lose this. It never needs to happen again. It probably will, but maybe not. But it doesn't need to happen again.
How would you feel if I guess one concluding question, how would you feel if your children wanted to join the military?
If they wanted to join, they could. I don't have an animosity against the military. Not now. It's been understaffed, but I think a lot of the dead wood's out of it. Mm-hmm. It has to be. I mean, all these guys are my age now. I mean, we were young, you know, but all the bad ones that were in charge of us, they're all gone. I mean, time marches on. Time marches on. Catching up with me, you to catch up with you two young guys.
No, I was just saying that to Mark this, because I was very young. I was 13 in 1973, so I have. I always think of people who are Vietnam veterans as being very young overall. So, well, again, thank you very much. We hope you'll come to celebrate freedom this year, and we'll definitely be inviting you to some special events.
No problem. Do you want to see this?
Yeah.